The Nexa. This is the point of the tree, where you have to be against the humans that are destroying everything. To be in alignment with nature and God. This is the point. It's the crux point, where you become a pariah because you care more about the environment than people's vanity or feelings or the color of their skin or their age. It's really hard to pick on an old lady because she's a planet rapist. It's hard. It's almost impossible because your brain looks at them and just sees pathetic. You see an old lady. She's not actually causing any problems on the planet. Not with the material goods she buys or all the medical treatment she's going to consume. And yet the planet continues to deteriorate. The Nexa. This is a judgment point. You must take it very seriously. Even if you choose to cross it, it's not easy. There's no guarantee of heaven. You're at that point being welcomed into a Navi tribe who is still at war. You just chose that side instead of the humans destroying everything. The materialism, the computers. It's easier when you're a renunciate and you're not attached. That all of that stuff is it's a costume of service instead of a possession or need. I have some writing about the Nexa on my I wrote 3 things. Ishtar, the Stargate into the Garden of Eden, and everything I touch turns to green. You have to be more of an asset to this planet than you are a liability. You have to wake up out of your comfort zone and go move to a farm instead of get a tech job. You have to do things like hunger strikes for orcas. You have to sacrifice and let go of attachment. There are key points in Bringers of the Dawn. One that I was terrified of, that I'd actually have to live out of like a backpack. To do this work. While all of my friends watched me starve in their fancy apartments filled with their stuff. Their stuff was more important than my life. My friends. Their shitty jobs, I had to hear complaints and complaints and complaints and complaints about day after was more important than my life. My mother, same thing. Her floor was more important than my life. I'm going to read this now. It's on my website, in the blog. We read this at every class in the Mayan lineage. Every class. The first time I heard it, I died. It's beautiful. The second time I read it, I go, I'm not living like that. The fourth time I read it, fifth time was for my own Kabbalah class. I was filled with pride that I was starting to live like that. It only gets deeper. Greatest fear in life, but it just gets deeper. The Invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't matter to me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for. And if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing, it doesn't matter how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love. For your dream. For the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. They're all fake anyway. Fake fucking astrology. Lying astrology. But I bet you guys that would all matter to you more than my own life. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow. If you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. Spielberg. Bitter old people can't even show up. I want to know if you can sit with pain. Mine and your own, without moving to hide it, or fake it, or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine and your own, and if you can dance with wildness, and let ecstasy fill to the tips of your fingers and toes. I've never seen anyone do that. Ever. The closest I ever got was with the dragons. And let ecstasy fill to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful. Be realistic. Be matrix programmed zombies. To remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. Kinda does. But in a V for Vendetta way. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal, like Jake Sully, and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it's not pretty, every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. Star does that. Selena does it. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine. And still stand on the edge of the lake, shout to the silver of the full moon, yes! Yes! It doesn't interest me where you live or how much money you have. Unless you can build Hogwarts with it. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair. Weary and bruised to the bone to feed the children. Get cracky. Doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. None of you did that. Sat on a beach and burned for 59 days. And Shay was the closest thing. Simon's job was too important to leave. And Shay sat with me. And my students showed up. But only where they were comfortable. It doesn't interest me where or what or with or whom you have studied. I kind of care if you studied with Star. Well, I know at that point you've got to have some soul. I want to know what sustains you from the inside instead of hearing your repertoire of when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself. And if you like the company you keep in the empty moments. Right now, I'm going to give myself an 80 or 90% on this poem. I can't even get a bunch of celebrities to help a whale to even build Blackfish 2 or find rich people to buy them. Like, there were 100 practical things that they could have helped do. And not one of them bothered to come and even talk to me. There were 100 things. It doesn't interest me where you live or how much money you have, unless you're my student and of service to the planet. Let me be honest here. You can read the poem without my iterations by going to my website or just typing Orion Mountain Dreamer, the invitation. The fact I even have to say that just implies how fucking lazy everyone is. And how entitled and ungrateful everyone is. The Nexa. Let's talk about Ishtar. During last fall, and in this one, I've been playing Enigma's Amen on repeat. Every time I hear it, it's just blowing at me. Ishtar. 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 I didn't even know. I knew that Ishtar was the goddess of Babylonia. Goddess of fertility. The song has a man. The video with a flame, which looks like it's about to throw it onto an entire society and burn it to pieces. Because he's so done. He's Jake Sully. He's like, I'm fucking over this. Ishtar. Most of you guys think fertility just means reproducing the same, reproducing shit. Not the death that will happen to create a new world. So you think Ishtar, but you don't think Kali. You think Ishtar is in the light. Every time you hear the word Ishtar, you should understand that it's also Kali. They're not. Even, okay, so these goddesses exist. They're best friends. They're on the same side. Higher intelligence. You guys have a delusion about what is light and dark, and that they're not besties. keep trying to teach you this. You'd have to do logical analysis, like even passing a symbolic logic class to even calculate that. She's the goddess of fertility. Just death. Nexa is Daenerys burning down everything. So that Jake Sully on Earth with his tribe of Jake Sully on Earth with his tribe of Na'vi slaughtering everyone. Because nobody listened to somebody like Cully Wren. Barely anybody listened to Greta. She was turned into a puppet real fast. Like, you know how I know they don't listen? Because I'm still picking up cigarette butts, thousands of them, in the royal fucking gardens. And if the royal gardens aren't taken care of, then nothing's taken care of. Is there anything else I want to say about Ishtar? Just think High Priestess of the Silver Star. They're all the same. The Nexa is where you make your choice. Are you on Jake Sully's side or on the humans? Now, when you decide you're on Jake Sully's side, understand the karma betrayal you've done. Oh no, you've done nothing your entire life against the entire planet? No? Oh my god. Denial. This is the this is Netzach. It's the Nexa. Holy shit. Because once you make the choice, it's like Zuko. Once you make the choice to flip sides, you still have to reconcile your past. Not to mention all of your friends that hate you. Family that thinks that their fucking floor is more important than Earth. My boyfriend who wants to build an eco-resort, but doesn't want to do it 100% green. And then you have to reconcile. Oh my god. How is it an eco-resort? They have to get on a plane and go back and forth to even do it. I can't be stupid. I have to do these maths. So is it a planetary asset for them to study there? What would it take for it to actually be an asset for them to study there and then go home? It better be fucking Hogwarts. The people there can now clean the ocean. And this is why Simon's not in Netzach. And that's what it would take for him to get there. So if it's not more of an asset, then it's a liability. I had an argument with Star at Dimensional Mastery. I was calculating the tithing system of how I chose to spend my money. I made $20,000 a year, maybe a little more. And I'm wondering, how do I make sure my money has the biggest return spiritually? And then Star shat on me when I tried to show her my system and said it was not a tithing system. Like somehow humans circulating money was more important than my ecosystem. It was a tithing system. It was tithing to the planet. And Star's flawed. She's not perfect. It didn't make me not love her. But I didn't even get a chance to be brilliant and have good ideas. So I hid under a bed and threw a temper tantrum that night. This is the only space I had to be alone. That was the other abuse. The Stargate into the Garden of Eden. The Nexa. So how do I make sure my money and my time and my energy create the biggest spiritual results? Well, it was definitely to show up at Dimensional Mastery. That was accurate. Even to be shat on by Star was still an investment. After building the Kali Isis temple that even I could hardly bear. At least the acacia trees were farmed for the floors, instead of just being cut down from a rainforest. Forest. Acacia koas. I think that's a rainforest. How did I make sure that nothing of my time or energy building that temple went into vanity and provided the biggest spiritual return? I bled. My brain bled. And I still didn't get everything done that I needed to. The Nexa. The following harvest moon. We did a sacrifice. I didn't do it in Griffith Park like my original templates were at. I had to do it on Carlsbad Beach. It sucked. There were no trees there to anchor in the energy. So we did the roots on that beach instead. pink salt candles. And we went under the ground. It didn't feel spiritual at all. It felt like shit. Normally it would feel spiritual and fey. My student brought the Isis tears and we created a portal. Threw it into the ocean. I had downloaded over the course of that 4 months the importance of the whales and how I could cross the abyss with them. They were the mirror of me. Hesed is dolphin, Bina is whale. Killer whales are dolphins that are also kinda whales. Because if you've seen a killer whale, they're not a fucking dolphin. They are, but they're not. It's the Stargate. Somehow, if I could tithe my magic, my actions to being of service to the whales, it would free me into some heaven. I didn't know what, but it's in the alchemy codes, so I tried. Act of selflessness. Get rid of myself for something else. That was innocent. That wasn't going to create a liability for the planet. So if you sacrifice yourself for a human, you better be sure that human looks like me or somebody like me. Because if you're sacrificing yourself for people who are liabilities to the planet, that's a waste. You're on the wrong side. You should just sacrifice yourself for a whale. I sat in a chamber, public storage. I slept on concrete that was frozen. Night after night. Sometimes the day. Sometimes just the few hours in the morning. Because, it was illegal. And Simon would ask me, why am I doing this? I said, these whales are providing a Stargate. I brought them into this world. I will take them with me. I will bring them into heaven with me. And it provided a space, a bridge for me to get grace on the planet. I like this next teaching. Everything I touch turns to green. It's the Midas touch, but you know, it means Hode is dead. Everything I touch is going to be Nexa on the planet. I will change you. I know how. I know more about your brain and your psychology than you do. I know more about the planet than you do. And I have help, and I'm not alone. You are going to agree with the planet, or you're gone. Period. So, me freeing the whales, my hunger strike was the abnegation, that's correct, and the asceticism eating at my body to clear the karma of my past. And I'm still doing it. I'm still having to reconcile some of it, but it's mostly gone. You are either on the human side, or you're on the whales and dolphins and fish and geese and the trees and the flowers and the ocean and the coral reef and everything else that's nature and not man-made. Unless it's man-made and approved by Dan Barber. Period. He's got judgment. He's done his homework. Most of you guys can't even listen to his TED Talks. None of you have even seen Dan Barber eating a carrot that was made in one soil and another carrot that was made in another soil, and how they tasted different. But I'm pretty sure I'm recalling a speech by Wayne Dyer about carrots or food that you grow yourself taking on the nutrients that you need. That they would individually plant their own nutrients to help heal you. Not your ego need, your health need. You should be very mindful. The minute you choose Jake Sully's side, everyone's the enemy, except for people on Jake Sully's side. Everyone. Their patterns will lie, cheat, steal, and kill to prevent from being broken. And I say this understanding that this video is a cheat. Because it's a video. Collie Run out.